Picture it Los Angeles 2025.
Oh, hi. Welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever going to need to listen to. I'm HAlanScott / Sadie Pines, and this is NPR.
I'm Kerri Doherty, fresh air. And today we are bringing you another Golden Rewind where we go back and rewatch our favorite episodes of the Golden Girls and offer new insights since we first started breaking down these episodes way back in 2014. And it's time to lean over a mirror and look at your face while casually mentioning to your date that you killed your husband during coitus, because we just rewatched season 1, episode 3, Rose the Prude.
I got my mirror ready.
You've got your mirror ready. Oh, good. I'm just going to use my phone. Yeah, later we're going to look over at ourselves. Should we just do it now?
Are we going to do the, like they did, are we going to do our faces first, and then are we going to do like they did on Sex and the City, where you have to look at your poo nanny?
No, I don't want to.
You don't want to look at your poo nanny?
No.
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever looked at it, and I definitely haven't looked at it since I had a baby.
I don't know if that...
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I actually did not know the origins. I'm not even going to go into it. I was going to say is that I don't know why I called the nether regions punani, but it's a Jamaican phrase. I didn't know that. I just looked it up. So hello.
Well, you
Jamaican
have the
listeners.
mirror out
Let
part of our intro.
Let me just look right quick. Hold on.
No. Stop. For those watching, HAlanScott is
legs in the air.
Legs are up in the air. Stuff is
Mention
happening.
it all. No, I did just do drag, so I'm just gonna say it looked great down there. Looked great.
Well, your legs looked wonderful. All right. Well, we'll save our mirror. We'll save for looking over the mirrors for later in the episode when we get to that scene. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, I can't believe my leg lifted that high.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you. I am too.
You're flexy.
I had no idea.
You're a sexy flexy.
Well, okay, let's keep it up. Literally.
Wow, we are
so
on
Kerri is still
already.
sick from last week. It's the same situation. She's not like sick, but she's just like
sick. It's
she's
just, you know how
slowly
sometimes
withering
just
away.
lingers. Yeah, stuff just lingers. So I'm in the lingering phase, but now my child is sick again, and she's been sick now for 3 days. So I'm just
so
preparing
glad I don't have a
my
child.
body to be sick again. Yeah, we will see. I do want to talk about something new that I'm going to start doing with regard to the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour. And that is, I notice every week after we post an episode on the main feed, which obviously it goes to the Patreon as well. And oh, wait, I said the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour. I meant the GGVIP Club. Excuse me. I'm still coming out of it. So I noticed that GGVIPers will comment on things about the main episode. And a lot of times, I mean, these are hardcore Golden Girls fans. A lot of times they're pointing out stuff or saying stuff about the main episode that I'm like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. So I'm going to just start doing a new thing where I'm just going to read one comment every week from the Patreon about the main episode that we did.
Yeah.
So last week we watched Foreign Exchange, where, you know, Dorothy doesn't know if she's Frida Claxton's daughter. And Aaron McCabe, who we love, GGVIPer.
Aaron.
Love you, Aaron. Aaron had a reply to this episode and said, my biggest problem with this episode was that by this time they had already shown Gloria being tall like Dorothy. And even more convincing that Sophia is Dorothy's birth mother, we already saw in flashbacks that Dorothy is the spitting image of Sophia's mom.
Yeah.
So anyway, Aaron had pointed that out. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about that.
I mean, if we've mentioned the episode we're watching today. I'm here. I'm listening. I swear. No. But
you and I are both fully present.
I know. I literally walked. You should have seen me. I walked in like Nathan Lane from the Birdcage into the apartment after my thing earlier, because you and I were texting because I had a meeting. And I ran into the apartment. I dropped my bag down. I told Michael, I was like, I'm putting some nuggets in the air fryer and I have to put on Golden Girls. And so I did just that. And we sat there and we both watched the episode and laughed. And then I pulled the clips for right now. And then now here we are. And I put on a little makeup.
I also ate nuggets from the air fryer tonight. Yeah.
Because I literally,
we may
on the
have
drive
been doing
home,
that at the same time.
on the drive home, because I didn't have time to go get really any food today, and I hadn't really ate today, and my doctor is on me because they told me if you're on Ozempic you have to eat regularly or else it won't work or whatever. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm being conscious of eating regularly. And probably should have ate something better than nuggets, but whatever. That's what I had. And so I put that in the air fryer, and it was a delicious little quick, like, I'm satiated. Now I can do my job and record and have fun and have fun with my friend. Yeah, it was nice.
I had nuggets and tater tots. It was absolutely delicious. Didn't have a single vegetable.
No, yeah, I had a vegetable earlier, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But speaking of, while we are still on the GGVIP Club, I am very excited for the Rusty Anchor Happy Hour tonight, because you and I, in live time, we are going to be using ChatGPT to write Golden Girls episode log lines for us. So we'll see how that goes.
Was it on? I don't know if it was on an episode, or was it a Rusty Anchor where I read what ChatGPT did to roast me? Did we do that on
that
an
was
episode?
On Rusty Anchor Happy Hour, where I believe where you read.
I told ChatGPT to roast me and be mean, and it was very funny. And
it was like really, I don't want to say accurate, but if somebody were to roast you,
it was mean. It was mean.
It was mean, but it was like, this is what somebody would say.
And I don't have. I mean, I remember I read it. I sent it to a bunch of friends. But I sent it to Elliot, obviously GGVIP, and Elliot was like, "Oh, I could never," and I was like, "I'm not. I've heard it all. It's fine. You can yell at me if you want.
Yeah,
it's fine."
It was really fun. So yeah, another reason to join the GGVIP Club over at patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast. We also have a couple more big interviews coming up. One this month, one next month. So those will be fully available on the Patreon.
Yeah, and we have I'm going to be featuring a very big interview with very big stars on this podcast coming up in the very near future. I mean, like later this month, there will be some very famous people on this podcast. Kerri is totally lost right now, but she does know. It's a moment. She's sick. But
no, I think I know who you're talking about.
Very famous people will be on this podcast later this month answering.
Am I going to get to talk to them too, or is it going to be a thing where you just talk to them for Newsweek and then it's just like an added thing?
I'm not saying anything yet. I can't say anything yet. But so there's a lot to look forward to this month.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. What else is there?
I'm not Irish. I'm sure I have some Irish in me. I know I do. In fact, I have 23andMe here right now. But
wait, are you going to open your results right here and read them for the first time? Wait a minute. Are you Sophia's kid, or do you belong to Philomena and Dominic?
I just have the app, and it just
I don't
see. Like I did a 23andMe, and it tells you things. So
I know what it tells you, but now you're in a database. And
here we go. Okay, I am. How much European do you think I
am? 94%.
99.5.
Yeah.
99.5. I am.
How German are we?
I'm actually more British and Irish. I'm 60% British Irish. I'm 28% French German, but I'm most recently German. My family most recently comes from Germany, but there probably was like a lot of back and forth between Germany and France. And the rest of it, and then the Jewish part, the part that I converted to, that I'm most proud of, that is it defines my life day in and day out. Oftentimes, I am 0.3% Ashkenazi.
Hey,
so there you go. That means some woman slept with someone in my bloodline. Probably.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, that's me.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I don't know that I'm ready to surrender my DNA to the government. Yeah,
I don't. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Take my DNA.
You know what? I'm okay with it, because you know what? I probably should, because it's like, you know what? If somebody in my family murders somebody, I hope they get caught.
Me too. I want to be a part of the solution. Like if my DNA caught the Golden State Killer or something, God, you know how excited Dorothy Spornak would be if part of her DNA helped capture a murderer? Like, do you know? Do you know how happy she would be? It would just.
You sound like ChatGPT already, just pitching Golden Girls episode ideas.
There we go. Maybe I am. Should we get into this episode? Because there is like a weird, first off, Miles, the introduction of Arnie/Miles happens in this episode. And actually, before we even get into it, I want to mention, I did some research while I was watching. I was like, I wonder if he is. So we know that on the Golden Girls, oftentimes there were actors who played multiple characters and different characters. And I wasn't sure if Harold Gould was the first actor to be introduced on the show that then went on to play a different character, because I thought maybe in the last, because this is only the third episode, so like can't be that many. And I checked, and he's the first.
Wow.
He's the first actor.
Look at you doing research.
I did the research. He's the first actor, not including the extras from the wedding, because I don't know, like they're not listed. But sorry, extras, background actors. But Harold Gould was the first actor to do a guest spot on the Golden Girls that then went on to play another character on the Golden Girls.
And ended up becoming such a big recurring character,
so he
too.
Is almost like the perfect first actor to be that, to have that credit. You know what I mean? Because he's an iconic part. And frankly, I wish he had stayed Arnie. I'm going to say it.
I also enjoyed Arnie more than Miles, but I will say there were moments that felt a little bit like Miles to me. Like at one point Rose gets back from their date and she's like, we ran a toll booth. And I was like, oh God, this is like the Thimble Museum all over again in the zipper factory. I was like, oh, he thinks boring things are fun. Which I don't know, maybe that is daring thing to do. Maybe it is. It's wild. Yeah. And then later in the episode when he talks about like how it was really hard for him to like make love to somebody after his wife died. He's like, it felt really great. But, then afterwards I would feel kind of bad, I guess. Yeah. That to me was like a little peak of Miles. But otherwise, yeah, I liked Arnie and I miss him and I hate Miles.
Yeah, I don't like Miles either. Can I be gay for a second, though?
Yeah.
There was and we'll get to it in the episode. But you know what? I'll save it for when it happens.
Save it, because I want to dive in. Dive in.
There's something about gray sweatpants that I have to talk about. So yeah, we'll come back after this break.
The only like overall thing I want to say about this episode is that I will reiterate, I say this whenever we watch early episodes these days, which is I really love the character stories about, what it's like to be a widowed woman of a certain age dating again. Like that is one of those big character stories that is so fundamental to the premise of this show.
But not also,
I just loved this episode so much.
It's a great episode.
I loved it. I love it.
Back on our Rusty Anchor happy hour from last week, also a great porn title, which is we were going over episode titles that would be great porn titles. Rose the Prude would be a great porn title. It
would be a great porn title.
You know what I also love, just to go a little bit deeper into that, because I agree with you. These early episodes really explored areas that were really new for television. And I've been watching a lot of Sex and the City lately, and I've been thinking a lot about, moments that were really sort of revolutionary on Sex and the City and how groundbreaking so much of that show was in terms of the topics that they talked about. And then I watched something like this where this episode was almost frank about sex, was almost very forward about sex, was like, and the layers of sex and the different types of sexuality. You know what I mean? You have Blanche being very open and shocked that not everyone else is open, which is like a totally different perspective that we had not really seen on television in that way. And then you had Rose, who was insecure about sex and worried and nervous about sex, which again, something you didn't in 1985 was not like a regular thing for a woman to be discussing on television.
Of a certain age.
A woman, but not even of a certain age. A woman in general, outside of soap, maybe Susan Harris soap, outside of something like that, there weren't that many discussions of like frank female, regardless of age, sexuality on television, unless it was a very special episode where someone has breast cancer or someone has whatever it was. But then even to add to that, you have Dorothy in this episode, who is also in her own way pretty frank about sex. So like it really was kind of just like a joy to watch.
And aging bodies.
Yeah. And what sex is like with those aging bodies.
Always on your back, Blanche.
Yeah. So good. So good.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay. I love. So when we start this episode, I didn't know what time of day it was, but we very quickly learn it's nighttime when Dorothy and Sophia are out on the Lanai plug playing gin. Dorothy is in baseball uniform pajamas.
That was
even though everybody else is dressed in their day clothes. I love that Dorothy is like, I'm going to have a night. I'm going to play gym with my mom. I am getting in my pajamas.
You know, I love that. There is something about home clothes, just like casual hoodie, sweatpants, pajamas. I don't quite get I keep my pajamas for sleep time, or my sleep clothes for sleep time. But there was a GIF going, or not a GIF, a video going around from, I forget what show, but the woman walks into her home and then she just like unbuttons her pants and her pants fall down and she just walks right into her home. And like, that's how she's comfortable. I could relate to that.
Relatable.
Yeah.
I sometimes like a day like tomorrow, right? Where I know it's going to rain tomorrow. It's going to rain in Los Angeles for the next like 6 days. It's going to rain tomorrow. I'm going to be home with little Oreo. We're going to make muffins. I'm going to get up in my pajamas. I am probably going to stay in my pajamas.
Yeah.
If I get changed, it will be to get changed into other pajamas.
You have that many pajamas?
I mean, yeah, they're not like sets. I mean, you know me, I'm not fancy.
No.
By pajamas, I mean like a really comfy, soft pair of Friends pants that my sister got me from TJ Maxx and an oversized t-shirt that used to belong to my dad that says 49ers Club on it. That's what I mean by pajamas.
Okay.
What kind of pajamas do you wear?
An old shirt and shorts.
Okay, yeah. So we're kind of...
Yeah.
See?
We're similar, although I do really want a matching. I used to love a matching set pajamas. I had a few. And then they were too big for me, and then they were too... It's a whole thing. It's a journey.
It's a whole thing. Well, we got to get you some.
Yeah.
I also love that Dorothy and Sophia have a 30-year history of playing gin and that Sophia always wins. Their whole little mini arc, I was obsessed with. I love it so much.
Yeah.
That throughout, Dorothy gets so frustrated the whole time that they're playing and she doesn't seem to be having fun. And Sophia's rubbing it in her face. And then Sophia's just like, I love this not because I like winning and beating you, but because it's when we have our best conversations. I loved it so much.
But also, too, and this touches on something that I have always firmly believed, that it is actually better to play games with family members than it is with friends, or people you maybe don't know as well as family, because you just can't yell at a friend the way you can yell at a sister or a mom or a brother or whatever. Like, when someone is playing the game poorly, let's say a board game or a card game or whatever, or they're like, you can just get irrationally angry knowing that unconditional love will persist. You can't walk away from that relationship. So you can be like, you're a loser. And you can't, and then you're not out of the will. Like, it's okay.
My grandma used to say that all the time as a joke. She'd be like, you're out of the will.
I know. Yeah,
all the time. It was so funny.
But I actually was out of the will. It's a long story. But she was anyway. But yes. So like you can, I love that. I think it's more important to play with family than it is with friends. Because I once played Monopoly with Michael's family, or not Monopoly. Yeah, was it Monopoly? And the fights over the rules that they had, I was just like, I'm sitting out.
I feel like that is typically your move when it comes to Michael and his family. You're just like, I'm going to be in the corner with a book or just quietly sipping my tea.
Yep. Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. So Blanche comes out. She has a date, but she needs someone to date the guy's brother. So she, Dorothy is obviously her night is busy. So she asks Rose.
She has her baseball pajama.
She has her baseball pajama, and honestly, nowhere. I'm not going anywhere.
There is nothing better than being like, I can't go anywhere. I changed.
Yeah. Oh, it's too late. It's too late. The sweatpants are already on.
I can't put anything else on.
No, it's too late.
Yeah.
So she asks Rose, who says she's not really interested in dating anymore. And she talks about, after all the wonderful years she had with Charlie, everyone seems so ordinary. And it really reminds me of that sort of famous quote that Betty White said about her late husband, Alan Ludden, when she said, when you've had the best, like, who needs the rest? So I really do feel like that was like the real Betty coming out.
Yeah.
But she also says that the dates that she has gone out on, the men have like acted so old.
Yeah.
So I also get like, I probably wouldn't want to go
I bet that's probably, we're clearly not that age. Look at us.
No.
But I bet that is a problem when you're that age, when people when people are aging in different ways. You know what I mean? That like a 63-year-old to one is a very different 63-year-old to another. And like, if you're not in the same place, that can probably be a conflict.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there was something that I noticed that I asked you to pull a clip so we could play it. And I wanted to see if you noticed it as well.
I don't know.
So
I did.
We'll play it and then I'll say the thing, we'll play it again. But before, I just want to set up the moment. So it's later that night after Blanche and Rose have gone on their dates. Blanche comes home in her gorgeous like canary yellow dress. And Dorothy storms into the living room after Sophia's once again beat her at gin. You like hear a glass break. She's really mad. And so then Sophia comes into the room to gloat. And I noticed this is where Dorothy has a moment. And I want to see if you noticed what I noticed in this moment.
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. I don't know why you play cards with your mother. It just makes you crazy.
You're absolutely right, Blanche. This has gone on far too long. Mom, I am not playing gin with you anymore.
You'll be back.
I'm waiting just a minute because I want to see if the listeners at home are screaming at their TVs if they noticed it as well. Dorothy called Sophia Mom.
Has she never done that? No, I guess not.
She calls her Mom.
Oh, I never noticed that.
In The Way We Met, when the ladies literally first meet her, she refers to her as mother, I think like once. She's never called her Mom. Can we play it again and listen?
Sure.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. I don't know why you play cards with your mother. It just makes you crazy.
You're absolutely right, Blanche. This has gone on far too long. Mom, I am not playing gin with you anymore.
You'll be back.
You know, I heard it now, but I think it is this is a testament to the actors, but it is so natural. It is so fitting in the moment that I didn't notice it because it doesn't stand out. It just feels like something she would do.
My clips today are really just like weird things that I noticed about the episode that I wanted to point out.
I pulled a clip that wasn't on your list.
Oh, I'm excited.
Because I had to.
I think, too, we get a few firsts in this episode. And listeners, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a moment where Dorothy talks about like her worst feature, and Blanche is like, I always thought your bony feet were your worst feature. And I'm like, oh, is this the first insult from Blanche or Rose about Dorothy's looks on this show?
Oh, maybe.
I think it might be.
It might be, actually. I don't know. We'd have to go back and watch 1 and 2, but I think so. I mean, wasn't there also a thing, we talked about this when we first started recording, but that they initially wanted one episode to be the pilot, but then it didn't. So then they like shifted things around. And so it wasn't like they shot the episodes in order. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I remember. So the pilot was the pilot, but I think maybe episodes like 2, 3, 4, 5, like there might have been some shuffling around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I laughed. I was like, "Ooh, that might have been the first time." I also love a bitter Blanche when Rose is talking about how much fun she had on the date, and Blanche is like, we danced, and she's like, Jeffrey can't dance; it makes his ankles swell.
Yeah.
I love a bitter Blanche.
She was. What did she say? He's cutting back on his salt or something. Like
Jeffrey's on a low sodium diet.
That's it. That's one of my biggest fears. I recently went to the doctor and got blood work done, and I was just waiting for them to be like, your sodium's high. And I was like, is it high? And he was like, no, it's actually low. And I was like, is that possible?
You're like, I need to be eating so much more sodium.
Give me fries.
Yeah, I mean, that's practically what the doctor was telling you to do. Set more nuggies in the air fryer. Yes. And just put salt on them. Lots and lots of sea salt.
That looked
so there was another funny thing that I noticed that it's a directing thing, and I wanted to play the clip to see if other people noticed it as well, but this time I'll set it up. So at the end of the scene, Blanche gets all like hot and bothered, and Dorothy's like, take a cold shower. And that's like the joke that the scene goes out on. And so Dorothy says her joke, and then she gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
Now, like, mind you, it's the women have gotten back from a date. It's, 11, midnight, however late it may be.
If he's on a low sodium diet, they were home by 10.
They were home by 10. Okay, sure. Yeah. But instead of Dorothy getting up and walking to her bedroom,
she walked to the front door.
The kitchen, she walks to the front door and then puts her hand on the handle and then kind of looks back like, are we done? Like, as they're fading out. And I was like, where the is Dorothy going in her pajamas at this time of night? Why did she walk to the front door?
I mean, well, let's play it. Should we play the clip and then
let's play it. I am so perplexed at this directing.
Honey, take a cold shower.
Oh, Dorothy, would you please open this jar of macadamia nuts for me?
You can't get it open?
Oh, I didn't try. I don't want to risk cracking a nail.
What are these, claws?
I just had to keep in the claws joke.
I do like that joke.
No,
I do like that joke.
I know what you mean. I know that is a weird direction for her to go in. However, it doesn't feel unnatural to me because it was the end of the night. So we don't know if maybe she had to go out and turn off the sprinkler, had to turn off the light outside. Maybe there was like a special thing with the porch light. Maybe she had to go check the lock on the door. Like she's maybe doing the thing because we all know that she is the most protective one, if you will. She's the biggest one. So she's probably the one who goes through and makes sure everything is locked, make sure everything is secure. So I have a feeling that's where my brain would go.
But the fact that you're asking those questions means that you have questions. You know what I mean? Like if she were to just walk into the
doubt, I have doubt.
You have doubt. Yeah. If she were to walk into the kitchen, I wouldn't be like, well, what is she going in there for at this time of night?
Yeah.
She's going in to get a snack. She's going in to get some water. Fine. She's going into her bedroom. Well, why is she? Well, she's going to bed. It was just so bizarre to me that she just gets to the front door and puts her hand on the handle, and then that's it.
Yeah, it didn't really stand out to me, but I see.
I don't know. If I were B. Arthur, who we know from talking to director Lex Passeris, like, she was, B. Arthur was like very, very serious. And I feel like B. Arthur would have been like, what, why am I going here?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It's one point Sophia mentions she's going next door to Frida Goodson's.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is the precursor to Frida Claxton.
I wonder how many times they use the name Frida.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I was like, bring the Danish. And then, so when Sophia opens the front door to find Rose and Arnie embracing, have you personally ever just stood there and had like a long romantic hug with someone?
No, I have not. Sometimes whenever someone hugs a little too long, I'm a little like, okay, I'm not dead yet. Come on. Like, we don't need to do this. Come on.
It is. They are so frozen in that hug. I don't know.
I did have this.
And it's so stiff and still. Like they're not like rubbing on each other.
It's not sexy
they look
or
like
romantic
statues.
at all. Like I've never even had, I don't think, a sexy hug. Like I don't even know how to necessarily do that.
Well, a sexy hug is a hug with where your body starts to gyrate a little bit, hand starts moving, and then it turns into more than that.
You know what's a sexy hug?
What's that?
A hug from behind.
Oh,
that's a sexy hug. Because when someone comes up and they surprise you, but they're like hot, and it's someone you want to fuck, and then they like hug you, and you're like, oh my god, and then you're like, yeah, don't go away, no, please put your arms around my waist, yeah. And then when you're not worried about them putting your arms around your waist because they know, like that they're into that little bit of jiggle, and it's like, yeah, no, come on, grab it. That's hot. It's a hot hug. A hug from behind is hot inherently if it's consensual.
There's our socials clip right there. No, for me, and women, back me up here if you agree. For me, a hug from behind means I'm being attacked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's consensual, if like if your husband came up to you and hugged you from behind while you were in the kitchen, maybe not cutting something because that's dangerous, but maybe just dipping your tea bag into the tea and you're just like having a good time.
I have hot tea in a ceramic. You're just putting weapons in my hand.
You're fine. You're capable of recognizing the shock or whatever. And you're dipping it, and then he grabs you around your waist and he sort of like kisses you on your neck and does that like hug from behind. That's hot. You're doing anal later.
No, we're not. We're so boring. I love him so much. Okay. So Rose comes in from her date with Arnie. Actually, no. I think this is maybe like another day. I forget. Or maybe it's the same day. But she's been having a great time. But now he wants to take her on a cruise to the Bahamas, just like Raymond did with Dorothy.
A red flag. In the era of White Lotus, we know that is a red flag.
But what about in the 80s? It seems like it's something that men like to do to impress women.
I guess so. I just don't like a cruise.
I know. You and I have spoken ad nauseum about our feelings.
There's a Golden Girls cruise
cruises
happening right now. Golden Cruising or something, which, Stan Zimmerman's on. Huh,
That's
Stan?
exciting. It is not for me.
Yeah.
I do not want to cruise.
Yeah, no, same.
I do not want to cruise. I did want to play the moment where Rose tells the women the issue that she's having, because I love Blanche's confusion so much when she gives Dorothy that face. Also, I think this might be the first get out of here of the show as well. So we should really
and we're going to come back from a break with this clip, actually.
Great.
So we're going to take a break and then we'll come right back with Get Out of Here.
Arnie wants me to go away with him on a cruise to the Bahamas.
Oh. Oh, and you're upset because he wants you to pay your own way?
I'm upset because we'll be all alone in the middle of the ocean on a ship in a stateroom with a bed.
Oh.
I don't know what to do. I haven't been with a man in that special way since Charlie died.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I love when Blanche goes low. You know what I mean? Like her voice goes low and you can tell she's genuinely surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great acting choice. Like you look at it on the page, get out of here. Get out of here. It's just such a great choice. I also love in this moment, we also get Dorothy's classic line, "Oh, back off, Blanche. Not all of us are classified by the Navy as a friendly port."
I mean, it's so good.
Oh, just the jib jab, the jibby jabby. It is happening.
The image of them all together in a line. It's just wholesome. It warms my heart because so often I find we only see them at the table, the kitchen table, or like maybe spread out in the living room. But for them to be that close is actually kind of rare on the Golden Girls.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it is nice to see them, like uniform like that. Yeah. I also really understand Rose's concern because if there's awkwardness, as we saw in the episode, if there's any awkwardness between her and Arnie, she literally has nowhere to go. They're on a ship. I mean,
that's the problem. Yes.
Most of the common areas are probably closed at a certain hour, you know?
What if she finds out she's a nauseous person or she gets nauseous on the ship and then she's just throwing up in front of this man that wants to fuck her? Like that's not sexy. Like that's just not, none of it adds up to like sexy. I mean, I'm sure they've been on cruises so they know if they're nauseous or not, but still, you know what I mean? Like it's just not sexy.
No.
I don't know.
And if he's a murderer.
Oh my God. Well, we find out that he is a criminal later on in this show.
I mean, we do know that he is a criminal later on.
Yeah.
So when we get to the cruise, so ever since fabulous director and guest Lex Hassaris told us, he said at the top of every scene, when you have that music playing, you always need to kill like 10-15 seconds, and it's always great if you can give your actors something funny to do that can get a little laugh. So at the top of the scene, you kind of have Rose pacing around the room, and I love it. There's that moment where she sees the bed and she kind of flinches.
Can we talk?
Gotta laugh.
I know, so good. Can we talk about her robe though? It was like,
please do,
a Ginger Rogers Fred Astaire dance robe number thing. It flowed beautifully. The pink was perfect. It was sort of like exactly what I would think. It actually does not fit necessarily Rose's character because it's almost a little too sexy in a way for the Rose that we
the
later.
Material was very sexy.
It just felt like the character of Rose this early in the series had not yet been fully defined, and so this felt very Sue Ann Nivens, this fabric. You know what I mean?
I do.
And I still loved it. And Betty White looked amazing.
What did Michael say about it? Or what did Michael say when you mentioned that while you were watching it together and eating nuggies?
Nothing. I just said I liked it, and he didn't say anything.
I always want to know what Michael thinks about the fashion. This is why I want to watch with both of you.
I know we should do an episode where he's not on camera and we distort his voice and he comes on and he does.
He should come on a Rusty Anchor happy hour to talk about the fashion on the show, or just do a whole episode.
That'd be nice.
He could be a voice. He could be like God.
Yeah, he doesn't like
Thanks for the lovely prayer.
Yeah, he doesn't like doing, even on red carpets and everything. Like we have an awards thing to go to tomorrow, and he doesn't do those things.
No pressure. I understand.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. I get all the attention. I'm good.
What do we think of the room? Like, do cruise ship bedrooms typically look just like regular hotel rooms, but massive. A little smaller?
No, they don't. That is
wow.
That is a massive. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's massive, but it is. Listen, I watch a lot of Disney content, and there's this like Disney Cruise Wish or whatever, and you have to pay for it, but like you can get like a sizable room. But like, I don't think Arnie is paying. I mean, he's not Miles, so we don't think Arnie maybe isn't as cheap as Miles becomes, but like he's clearly like a normal person, so I don't think he's getting like the buku bucks suite at this.
Yeah, because he wants to impress Rose. He invites her on a cruise,
I mean, I guess it looks like a fine room. It just, I don't know. I feel like the rooms often have like a couch, and it's like I don't know. It's like it's more compact.
Yeah. I wanted to see it. Maybe cruises don't have like nautical themed rooms, but that's sort of what I was expecting.
Like nautical, maybe. I don't know.
But I don't know. I've never been on a cruise because I hate cruises.
Yeah.
So Arnie has this little portable radio. They get into the room and he puts on Glenn Miller. They dance. Rose says she met Charlie at a Glenn Miller concert, which is funny because she met Charlie when she was a child. Continuity, but that is fine. We've grown to live, learn, and move on.
Yes.
I like in this scene, I like that we learn that the reason Rose really connects with Arnie Peterson from Plainville, New Jersey, is because he reminds her of Charlie.
Yeah.
And maybe ultimately that's why she felt compelled to go on the cruise with him. There was like this comfort deep down that she couldn't quite put her finger on, that, she felt like she was with Charlie.
Yeah.
And then when things start feeling a little bit too serious, she runs into the bathroom, where she probably slept in the tub, because that's what happens when you need space on a cruise ship and you're on a cruise ship.
You know what it reminded me of? Not a cruise situation, but there's this great movie, Barbra Streisand movie, The Mirror Has Two Faces. I love this movie so much. And there's a moment, similar situation, actually. Well, sort of. But Barbra Streisand's character wants to have sex with her husband. She hasn't had sex with her husband yet. That's part of the plot of the movie. And she asks for that sex that night or whatever. And then he won't have sex with her. He's upset that she wants to, because part of their agreement was that their relationship wasn't based on that it was intellectually based, not sexually based or whatever. And she has this beautiful like nightgown on, and she's looking very sexual, whatever. And he rejects her. And she's like, supposed to be not the prettiest woman in the world. And so like she feels humiliated. And Barbra Streisand, looking the way she did, runs to the bathroom and like smashes the door, and like and the guy is like, come out, I'm sorry, whatever. And she is just, and there's a moment, and it is like, it gets me every time, Barbra Streisand. But she stands up from the ground. She's been sitting on the ground. The camera goes to the mirror, and she cannot even look at herself. She is so sad about this rejection, that she's rejecting herself. And so she takes the towel and just puts it over the mirror, and like that's the end of the scene. And it's so dramatic and everything, but it also is just like, I feel Rose in this moment, because Rose is nervous, and that's what I think of when I think of that moment.
I'll apologize, baby, that's fine. Remember we sang that on the rest. I think you sang it on the rest of your happy hour. We sang way more than we could have on the main, because we can't afford it here. Oh, that was such a good song.
Can't afford it.
Yeah, like that's what Rose did. She slept in the tub and put a towel over the mirror.
Not because she feels ugly, but because she's uncomfortable. She's nervous about this, and she feels.
And also, have you ever looked at yourself in a dark room in the mirror? Like you start to see things like Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, that kind of thing.
When you do drag, you see your body in the weirdest of ways. You get to know things about yourself that you would not have known before. Trust me, I ain't appalled by anything in this body anymore. Nothing.
Well, back at home, the other three women can't sleep because they're dying to know if Rose is banging. This whole scene is genius. I love that. Again, in these early seasons, the writers just let these scenes
I also love
live and evolve and be on their own and be long. And like, who cares? Because this stuff is also interesting and great and fun.
I love that, like, because we so rarely go back to a moment that we previously were at on the show. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like it's so rare to sort of have. I think maybe the only other times is like when Big Daddy died and they went back to when Dorothy and Blanche go back, and like those moments maybe where they go back and forth, but like it's rare. So this felt different.
I noted that too. Yeah, how they split up the Rose and Arnie stuff. It was probably because you don't want to go too long without seeing the other women, especially when it's just a Rose story.
Only 3 episodes.
I know, only 3 episodes in. So this is a sort of a classic cheesecake scene, but they're not having cheesecake. They're having tea. I don't know that they've done cheesecake yet. Yeah. But yeah, the tea, I was like, oh, okay. Yes, they are having tea.
Hey.
They're talking about how long each of them waited after the divorce or death of their husbands, like until they were with a man again. Blanche mentions the Reverend performing the funeral service. She always knew there was something between them. And I was hoping that you would perform this moment with me because I didn't want to pull another clip, but I did want to reenact this moment if you'd be so kind to be my Dorothy.
I need to pull it up. Hold on. But yes, I will gladly be your Dorothy. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So Blanche says, oh yeah, everybody. Yeah, here we go. And
wait, okay. Yeah, you ready? Okay, ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Action.
Sometimes from the pulpit, he'd be talking about sin and he'd look straight at me. We couldn't do anything about it because he was married, but after his wife died, there was no stopping him. We could finally consummate our long and burning passion.
And
took about 10 minutes. He wore his watch and his socks. I never saw him again.
And scene. Cut. Print.
Dorothy's and is so funny to me. And I bet the thing that got the biggest laugh at the table, Reed, I'm calling it right now. I'm not predicting it.
It reminded me of when they were trying to get the baby to sleep and she was like, yes.
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 And
but she said it in such a way that was like not sexy.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, if you're into that.
I don't know.
Don't want to be touched from behind
sexual.
while you're dipping your tea bag.
Yeah, no, Dorothy, do not come behind me in my ear.
I'm sure there's someone who, when I said teabag earlier, some big Sex and the City fan immediately wanted to go doing, oh, we'll just breathe through your nose. Such a good show. Sorry.
So Dorothy, I feel like Dorothy, the first man that Dorothy being with, the divorce lawyer, that just made sense to me.
Yeah.
As like a character thing.
And you're spending a lot of time with that person. So, you get to know him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Sophia ever
also
says.
Sex and the City. Charlotte got with the divorce lawyer. Married him.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
A nod to the GG.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Sophia ever says the first person that she was with since Sal. Maybe she hasn't been with anybody since Sal.
I think not at this point, at least. We know later she is, but yeah.
So then we get to the Blanche mirror moment. So this is where I want us and everybody, if you're at home, take your phone or take whatever. We're going to lean over and look at ourselves in the mirror.
Wow.
In our mirrors. And I want to see.
Wait, you guys
have your Miss Piggy mirror. I have my phone.
A little bit of my setup. There's Kerri. Hi, Kerri.
There's me.
Camera. There's a light. Okay, here we go.
All right. So let's lean over and report back as to what we're seeing.
Wait, I got to stand up.
Yeah, I have lines. There are lines that appear.
I mean, I just look a lot fatter because all my fat, the gravity pulls it down.
I just have more lines around my mouth than my chin.
Like, I'll take a picture of myself. Hold on. Let me take a picture of myself. Well, I can't really. Hold on.
It's okay if you can't.
No, I
mean, you're doing it with.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, but overall, okay. But check in again with me when I'm 58. Oh yeah.
God.
Now, yep.
I look
now
amazing.
Look the way that Blanche does.
I look amazing. I actually look a lot thinner.
Oh, yeah. I look great.
Oh, yeah, I look great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only on your back, Blanche.
I mean, I would actually prefer to do most things on my back.
Yeah. I like not having to get up.
Yeah, true.
I like to come up with games for little Oreo when she wants to play and I'm just really tired that involve me lying down. I'm like, oh boy, let's see if you can cover me with blankets.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm on the couch and like I've been like doing a lot or whatever, there's a serious thing of like when I want something else and I'm like, wait, do I want it so bad that I'm gonna get up right now and get it for myself? Or can I wait until Michael comes out of the workroom and he can, you know what I mean?
Can I tell you, as much as I am fulfilled as a mother, and I love my child more than anything on this planet, she's made me a better person.
Yeah.
I miss the days of just being able to, on like a rainy day or if I'm sick, just being able to like lie on the couch all day and watch TV. I miss it so much.
That's pretty great.
So much.
Pretty great.
Just the freedom.
You know what?
The freedom.
You know
it's
what?
Beautiful.
In like 10 years, that kid's going to be able to be a nice little helper. You can have her get you a glass of something.
Mm-hmm.
You could sit on the couch and she could bring you the chips.
Oh, yeah. I mean? When I am fully relying on her when like my hips go out and I can't, and I am.
Yes.
I am old and creaky.
When the kids become indentured servitude, and that is
helpers. We'll call them helpers.
Sure. But they can't leave.
Caretakers.
They can't leave.
Yes, no, I will fully guilt her into taking care of me.
No, there's no guilt because at 12 years old, she can't even leave. I'm saying at 12 years old, put her to work.
Yeah. Well, that's why I waited so long to have her, really. Because
exactly.
I need to be old and elderly before she hits 18.
Yes.
Even though I'm 23. Do the math. Yeah. Okay. Where are my notes? I can't see that well.
Well, I think we're back on the ship now, right?
Oh yeah, we're back on the ship. Yeah, you're right. They split it up and it was kind of weird.
This is the gay mode. This is where I need to be gay. So there's this. Okay. I mean, this scene is pretty much what you expect. Like they have the conversation about the sex and the stuff and her not having sure feeling like she's cheating on Charlie and like all the things we know and we love about this scene. But I need to be a gay homosexual for a second. So Arnie is wearing gray sweatpants. As a gay homosexual, it is my obligation to recognize a man when he's in gray sweatpants. That is a right. That's a freedom in which I have in this great country.
Specifically gray sweatpants.
I mean, any sweatpants, but gray sweatpants, and his weren't necessarily gray. I don't think they were a mix of colors, if I remember correctly. But I'm just gonna say I wasn't impressed by Arnie. There was a moment. There was a moment I saw something. I'm not gonna say a lot. And I wasn't like, oh, Arnie. You know what I mean? I didn't.
Yes, this is when we're looking at the spectrum.
Yes.
There's Arnie and then there's Don Cheadle's Cheadle at the other end.
That's a whole other conversation. Don Cheadle's Cheadle is a brand. It's a brand of its own. Like it has a whole industry that is around Don Cheadle's Cheadle. Whereas Arnie is a little bit smarmy.
I didn't notice. I wasn't looking,
because
but like you said,
right?
But like you said, it's sort of it's kind of part of your DNA to be looking.
It's just a right that I possess as a gay American homosexual.
Well, as someone who's married to someone with a small bladder or someone who just pees a lot.
Oh, I was going to say, where are you going with this?
No, no.
You literally now I have to say, as a red-blooded American man, I have to say, as a person who has possessed masculine traits for most of my life,
I should not have led with the word small.
You cannot follow me not being impressed with the size of Arnie and then immediately go to your husband. You can't do that to him.
I'm just looking at my notes in the order of my notes.
You can't do that to him.
Don't ever tell him. I apologize.
Oh, this is a clip. This is a clip.
No. So I thought that it was very, very sweet, because when Arnie comes out of the bathroom, he hasn't peed all night. And when Rose comes out of the bathroom, he sits on the bed and he has a conversation with her, even though he's bursting with pee and he has no contact, so he can't really see. But he sits and he does have that really sweet conversation with her. That's all I was going to say.
Oh, good. Because now I feel bad for Stan.
Oh, don't say that. Another funny thing I noticed kind of in the world of the Gigi, just making crazy connections. Somebody put this on the IMDb trivia page because I'm too lazy to do it. So Arnie says that his late wife's name was Molly. Yeah. Molly Hagan is the name of the actor who played Miles's daughter, Caroline. See, it all connects. Arnie mentions he has an adult daughter. Maybe her name is Caroline. I don't know.
Someone do a little Wikipedia thing. Conspiracy theory. I also, and I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial with this audience, but I didn't love Rose mentioning that she killed her husband with sex in this episode. Oh, because of later? Well, first of all, for someone seeing this episode for the first time, it must have been wild to feel like there's a resolution between Rose and Arnie, like they're both on the same page. And then she goes, oh, and another thing, I might kill you. No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's a funny, I mean, it's used as a joke in this one. It's used as a tool to sort of just like move the story along. And I get that, but I don't mind it. I get why you're bothered by it because of later things. Well, I like the running joke of it. I think that's fine. I didn't think this was the episode to introduce that. And I understand, I guess, if that were going to be something that they had decided was part of Rose's story, then like, yeah, it would make sense for it to be in this episode. But one, I feel like it wasn't like a part of her character. And they were like, well, we got to say it in this episode because that didn't really happen. Obviously, there was like stuff that didn't make sense. But it felt like a hat on a hat to me. No, it felt like it felt like it was enough that Rose is worried to be with another man. No, because she'd feel like she's cheating. I feel like they used it to explain why she had not been with another man in the years since Charlie. But that undercuts everything she said about her saying it would feel like I'm cheating on him. He was the love of my life. No other man is going to stand up to him. No, all of those things can be true. She can feel that and have that feeling too. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm looking for a hat to put on my hat to really illustrate my point because maybe I'm not doing it well enough. No, I know what you mean. I'm just saying that like I think it adds to her uneasiness in a way that isn't meant to be a distraction for the overall point, but I think it's just a part of the puzzle that she's painting here. And I think it was intentionally just used as a joke and not for the other reasons later down the ride. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it was also used as a joke, but that's where I think it undercuts the rest of the scene. And then this like super traumatic moment is kind of glossed over. They like make a few jokes about it and then the conversation moves on and then they sit on the bench. She's like, hold me. Yeah, but you want that. You want that because then what happens in the next scene once she gets home and the girls really want to know if she did the deed and she's all kind of coy about it. That's the clip I pulled. I'd like to play it. All of that would have worked without her saying I killed my husband during sex. All of that still because it makes this moment even I think more fun because it makes the expression of joy in this moment more fun to me. But let me play the clip.
But if you go out that door and don't come back in, we'll know you didn't. And if you do come back, that means you did.
I mean, I just love Dorothy's joy here. But
I love Dorothy slapping her knees.
Yeah, me too. But I think it heightens the joy of that moment. All of that. It doesn't bother me.
But the women don't even know that story. They don't even know that Rose.
I mean, sure.
Because she says I've never told anybody else.
No, I get that. But like, it's still for us, the viewers, it heightens the moment that she actually did it. It makes it this sort of like thing. I don't know. I liked it. I don't mind it.
Like I said, I set it up by saying this could be controversial. I didn't think it was needed. That said, I enjoy that as an aspect of Rose. It is a very interesting thing, but in this context, in this scene, it just didn't work for me. But please, viewers, let us know. Let us know how you think. Call me a dum-dum.
Dum-dum.
So, so then we get that great moment between Dorothy and Sophia where they talk about why they play cards together. It's so sweet. Also, I can't remember, was this just in the scene that you played where Rose returns and Sophia goes, "So, did you and Arnie find the cannoli?"
Yeah, that was before that. But yeah, that's a great line.
That was a real, you and I always talking about grumpier old men.
Man-sized
check out my man-sized manicotti.
Yeah.
That was the original man-sized manicotti.
It's true. It's true. It's such a good episode.
Such a good episode.
Such a joy. I mean, Rose the Prude. It's perfect. And,
it's great.
I wish Arnie would have stayed Arnie, and maybe packed his sweatpants a little bit more. There's underwear for that. I'm just saying.
Was there back then?
I don't know. A jockstrap? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take a break and come back with our golden takeaways. Bye. And we are back with our golden takeaways, which is a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your life or the lives of our listeners. Kerri, Doherty, Bush, Montgomery, Clift, what is your golden takeaway?
I agree with you about playing like cards and board games with family. And how it is. I mean, I do have a lot of fun playing Cards Against Humanity. Cards Against Humanity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Having a rough night. I enjoy playing that with my friends, but like one of my favorite more like recent memories of me and my dad is playing War together. Like I just feel like because it is kind of an easy game that you can kind of get into a rhythm and then like start talking about other stuff. And he's someone who he has Alzheimer's, he has memory problems, but like he's doing okay. But when we're playing, we manage to be able to play and have like a running conversation about something, or there will be moments where like we played one game and we got War I swear a record amount of times, and every time we kept getting War, we just kept laughing like, okay, well, we're gonna have to get it again now. It was just like a really special like moment for me playing War with him. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
I had a different golden takeaway, but because of yours, I'm going to add mine to it. The grandma that I mentioned earlier who took us out of the will because she had like a thing with my mom. It's a whole story. She wasn't she was not a good grandma. She wasn't meant to be a grandma. Let's just say that, or a mother for that matter. That said, I do have a memory of being a young kid going to visit her. She owned a golf course. And so we would go stay on the golf course with her in her house that she lived in on the golf course. And it was always just sort of like for a long weekend or whatever. And on Saturday nights, we would make root beer floats and we'd play cards and have snacks and stuff. And then we'd watch Saturday Night Live while we were playing cards. And your memory of game with that's a very sweet memory that I have, with one of the very few sweet memories that I have with that grandma, that playing games is a very sweet. And I don't even remember necessarily talking, because my grandma was like one of those people, like me and my brothers, we all were like heavy set and bigger, and she was very thin, because she would always remind us that she adopted my mom, which is why we looked the way we did and she looked the way she did. And she would always say that to me. She was like, because my real name's Scott, she would be like, "Scott, you're fat. Your fat is different from your brother's fat because your fat evenly distributes itself." And I was like, okay, cool. Like, she was just one of those people. Anyway, that's a nice memory, the game time with my grandma. And I cherish that. And I hate everything else.
As you should.
Yeah. Some people just are not meant to be parents or grandparents.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No. Just blood doesn't mean everything.
Yep. And you make your own chosen family, like on the Golden Girls.
That's right. Bring it back to the Golden Girls. Oh my gosh, everyone, this has been another episode of Out on the Lanai. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think, and we will catch you back here next week for more Golden Girls greatness. And don't forget to check out the GG VIP Club over at patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast. You can sign up for a free account, but of course you get most at the $5 and $8 a month levels. You can also pay for a year in advance, and you get it. It's even cheaper than that.
Wow, that's a lot of words. And guys, we're a part of Mom, Moguls of Media, so go subscribe to that. And you can also follow us on social media at Golden Girls Pod on Twitter, Out on the Lanai Official on Instagram, Golden Girls Pod on Facebook, and I'm HAlanScott / Sadie Pines on all the little tappity tap things.
And I'm Squid Eat Squid on Twitter and Squidsy on Instagram. And if you want to do something else wonderful for the podcast, you can leave us a rating and a review wherever you get this podcast, because it really does help people discover us and join our lovely community of kick-ass Golden Girls fans.
It does help. Let us help you. Help us. And remember,
as always,
stay golden. Stay golden.
And play Golden Girls Monopoly.
Talk to me about gray sweatpants.
Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.